Yeah, hi there. My name's Sean Milsom. This is my son-in-law, Drew. We're both from England. We're over here to watch the Southeast Gassers race here. I race in the Gasser Circus in the UK. I've got a T-shirt on here. I've got a Morris Z van that I race in the circus. We've heard a lot about Southeast Gassers. We watch a lot on social media. Some friends of ours have come here before to previous races. Brian and John Gibson, Ray Turner and son Harvey and Ray Irish all said you've got to go. So we were looking for an opportunity to come over here, see for ourselves how you guys race here. And normally the SEGA events clash with our rounds, so it's quite difficult to find a gap. My son-in-law spotted an opportunity, planned a trip for us, and it's real pleasing to be here. We've had a great welcome from you guys over here. I'd recommend it to anybody. It's a fabulous event, fabulous racing. We've seen some practice last night. Looking forward to the racing today. Hope everybody stays safe, keeps the oily bits on the inside. We see some good racing. And yeah, Gassers rule. We're really pleased to be here. Thank you.
Once again, want to welcome all you fans out here to Union County Dragway today as we bring you the Southeast Gassers 1960 style wheels up, 4-speed transmission. First one to the finish line will be the winner here today. There are no buybacks. There are no participation trophies.
I'm measuring the bread box intakes. We don't allow any modification to the plenums. But we found that just in the manufacturing process for these back in the day that there was a great variance between the different boundaries and stuff. So we're just trying to establish a nice range that they can fit within, so that they're unaltered, but we found some variations in them just from the factory.
Hi, my name's Ray Ballou. Driving a 1955 Ford Bad Elevate, A-gas. This is our first year competition. This is our third race out of 5. We're doing pretty good. We're making big gains. Really, SEGA is kind of like the old days. I mean, it used to be run what you brung. You know, if you got put out, you went home. If you didn't, you went on. That's my appeal to it. That's what I grew up with. I really like SEGA. I've been to a lot more races as a spectator than I have as a driver, so I think it's going to work out pretty good. I like it. I enjoy it. Good family atmosphere. You know, everybody seems to get along with everybody.
All right, here we go, fans. We first round of eliminations right here. Superstock coming your way. SEGA, you should be in the lanes now, ready to go. Zach Long in the brass monkey, going to be over there in the quick time performance. Left-hand side, he's going to take on the number 4 qualifier in the mortgage options lane, and that is Bryant Dalton Sr. Bryant Dalton going to take it all the way right here and move on into round number 2. Next up, number 1 qualifier, Randy Kiefer right here in the Spine Tingler. He's going to be taking on Don Wilmot in the quick time performance lane in the 66 Mustang Coupe. Randy Kiefer from the drop of the hammer to the turnout lane. He's going to take the win right there. out, going to find Kim Haynes in the quick time performance lane in the 64 Galaxy 500, the Bad Apple. He's going to be taking on Jerry Dean in the mortgage options lane. Make no mistake, Jerry Dean, a accomplished drag racer in his own mind, coming out here for his second year of racing with us in the Southeast Gassers. So far this year, he has won every race in our Superstock division. Kim Haynes turns on the red light, so that disqualifies him, and Jerry Dean going to move on to the next round. Dean Hall going to be unable to make the call, so a competition single it is right here for KJ Phillips. All right, Alan Lovelady, right up here in the underdog in the 67 Camaro. Don't know if he's got an opponent. He's supposed to be racing Johnny Royals. Looks like he's coming on in. There you go. So Johnny coming on in. Whoever wins this matchup right here going to get Jerry Dean in the second round. Johnny Royals gets there first, and a little bit of an upset as Alan Lovelady had a little bit of problem down track, but Johnny Royals comes through with the win right there. All right, right in here into SEGA, first pair out right here. Going to find Ernie Smith, the number 6 qualifier, taking on the number 17 qualifier, Gene Russell. Ernie Smith got a good launch that time. When it come down, it bounced a little bit, moved to the left. He drove it into gray all the way to the win right there. Good matchup here is the second group out. The number 5 qualifier, Seth Buff, in the Gold Nugget out of Shelby, North Carolina, the 57 Nomad. And in the mortgage options lane, he's going to find the Inman, South Carolina racer, Josh Pruitt. In the Youngblood, that 63 Ford Fairlane. Too much Seth Buff right there as he took it and takes the win and moves on to round number 2, does Seth Buff. Third pair out, going to find our 2-time and defending world champion, Abbeville, South Carolina racer Tim Hall in the mortgage options lane in his 67 Rambler. He'll be racing Doug Poston, the number 21 qualifier, in the Fat Boy, the Chevy truck that sits in the left side. Too much Tim Hall. That thing just like a rocket out of there as he looks like he is on a mission today. Fourth pair out is going to find the number 11 qualifier, Steve Davis from Monroe, North Carolina, in the Spinny 3 Falcon. Over in the mortgage options side, being backed up by his wife, Sharon. He's going to be taking on the number 12 qualifier, Ben Helms, in the Pucker time out of Waxhaw, North Carolina. Man, those guys were dead even at the 3:30 mark, and Steve Davis pulls it out on the big end by 0.03 of a second. Fifth pair out, going to find Jesse Beaver out of Hagerstown, Maryland, over into quick time performance lane into Voodoo Child. He's going to race the number 4 qualifier in Brad Wimberly in that 62 Comet that he calls the Southern Sizzler. Kimberly taking the nod right there and getting the win light. Sixth pair out right now, gonna find Diana Casto, the number 8 qualifier, in the quick draw. Walden, the number 15 qualifier, out of the Atlanta, Georgia area, in that 61 Impala with the mechanical fuel injection. Walden, the third generation racer, as you've heard me announce already, grandson of the great Lamar Walden, Mr. 409. Diana Casto with another win light as she moves on, and she'll get Seth Buff in the next round in that gold nugget. Jaron Purdue, the number 1 qualifier here today in the stud muffin, going to be receive a bye in the first round. Another solid run by Purdue, putting forth the same numbers that he did in qualifying. Eighth pair out, going to find Dan Hogan, the number 10 qualifier, in the quick time performance lane in the flat out Falcon. He's going to go up against Ron Allison in Poppy Toy 2. All right, so Dan Hogan turns the red light on right there. So red means dead, and Ron Allison in his red car are going to move on to round number 2. Number 16 qualifier, Matt Helms in the Rowdy Reputation out of McConnell, South Carolina. Got that 1950 Ford in the quick time performance lane. He's going to take on the number 7 qualifier, Alfred Adams out of Clover, South Carolina. Helms floats it up to the moon and sees nothing but blue sky and clouds as Alfred Adams streaks away to the win. Robbie Wallace, the number 20 qualifier, in the quick time performance lane in that 55 Anglia called the Out of Control. He's out of Roxborough, North Carolina. He's going to be racing the number 3 qualifier here today. The number 3 qualifier being Todd Oden in the Double X out of Birmingham, Alabama. Best elapsed time for the weekend for Todd Oden right there as he goes his best for the weekend. The 11th pair out finds the number 9 qualifier, Bill Wilson, sitting in the mortgage options lane in the 49 Studebaker truck. He's going to be taking on Heath Adams, the number 14 qualifier, in the Rusty Bullet, which sits in the quick time performance lane. Bill Wilson marches on to the victory here, and he'll move on to round number 2. All right, B-Gas getting ready to start. There is Ken Rainwater out of Kimberly, Alabama, in the quick time performance lane on the left-hand side in that car he calls the Renegade. And in the mortgage options lane, you're going to find Kelvin Cannon out of Elizabethton, Tennessee. Big mess up right there. That is a monumental mistake by Ken Rainwater. He turns on the red light, so they're already pushing him back, and we're going to get a hold put on the right-hand lane for sure. Sure hate that for Jimmy Huff. What a great guy, great competitor, one of our winners of our Sonny Hall Sportsman of the Year award a few years back. Must not have been as bad as it sounded. That's what I'll put, and thank goodness it's not. As we see the 41 Willis Coupe right now of Michael Walters out of Rayford, North Carolina, going into that mortgage options water box on the right-hand side. And Greg Adams over there in the Hillbilly Hoodlum. He's going to be in the quick time performance lane. Undoubtedly something amiss for Michael Walters on the start right there. The start leader goes in the big end, okay, but nonetheless, it looks like Greg Adams is going to move on to the next round. So number 13 over a number 6 right there. All right, fourth pair out, going to find the number 4 qualifier, Mike Blackwell, in the 1955 Thunderbird in the quick time performance lane. The Thunderstruck, he's going to be racing Jimmy Martin in the Ditch Digger, the number 15 qualifier in the beautiful 55 sitting in the mortgage options lane. Mike Blackwell marching on to the win right there in the Thunderstruck. Solid run for Daniel Haynes, as it took every bit of that run, as he only beat Michael by 0.06 of a second. Troy Leitner comes up next in the mortgage options lane. He's racing the number 12 qualifier, the Iceman, Rod Bergman. Turns the red light on, does Bergner. So Troy Leitner gets the win right here as they streak down the racetrack, and a good number for Troy Leitner as he does so. Number 14 qualifier, Gary Smith in the Chicken Bone out of Leesville, South Carolina. He sits over there in the quick time performance lane in the 51 Henry J. He's going to be taking on Rick Varner, the Dirt Man, out of Kannapolis, North Carolina, in his 1955 Chevy. So Rick Varner takes the win and moves on to round number 2, where he's going to get Greg Adams. Number 1 qualifier, Ted McKee in the Rocky Top Missile, our defending world champion. Eddie Hawkins, the number 18 qualifier, sits over in the quick time performance lane, trying to slay a giant right here in Ted McKee. Right down Broadway, Ted McKee takes the win, moves on to the second round, where once again he'll have a bye. Last pair coming around the corner here in B Gas, Gerard Milladantri from Suffolk, New York. Going to be in that wicked one over in the quick time performance lane. Jason Roberts is going to be in the Carolina Moon over in the mortgage options lane in the 1949 Ford Deluxe. So Milladantri marches on to round number 2. Calhoun, Georgia racer Ray Ballou In the bad alibi, the 1955 Ford, 466 cubic inches of big block Ford underneath the hood there. He's going to be in the quick time performance lane. And the chick magnet of Leslie Horn, the number 2 qualifier here today in that 55 Chevy, is going to be over in the mortgage option side. Leslie Horn right now as he moves on to round number 2. Number 1 qualifier receiving a bye run by virtue of being that number 1 qualifier. That is Gabriel Burrell in the Southern Flyer, the 31 Ford Tudor with the John Kazi power underneath the hoods of that thing. All right, Gabriel Burrell marches to the second round. I need Superstock to the lanes. Ben Christopher with a run right there. That's a good run for Ben. Carr kind of moved to the left a little bit, and Pittman's moved to the right. Pittman had to abort the run, but Ben Christopher hammered down. All right, number 3 qualifier, Kenneth Phillips in the Silver Streak 2. Zach Hall going to be taking him on in the 1955 Chevy called the Homegrown. Zach, the number 12 qualifier here in A-Gas today. Blistering run right there for Phillips as he moves on to the next round. That is a good elapsed time. Rob Walden going to be in that 33 Willis over there, the Strychnine. He'll be in the quick time performance lane. He's going to be taking on none other than Todd Blackwell, the number 9 qualifier, which is a little bit of a misnomer because that car is really strong. Todd Blackwell moves on to the next round with that win right there over Walden. Both those cars were Scott Duggan's 477s under the hood. But this time Chase Howard gets to the stripe first, and he'll move on to take on Ben Christopher in the next round. 7th pair out, going to find a couple of veterans right here. Dean Jonas in the mortgage option side. Then you got Quayne Stott, 2006 IHRA Pro Mod World Champion. Goodness gracious, Quayne Stott in a win right there. That was a very close race. 0.03 of a second was the margin of victory right there. 0.03 of a second. All right, Superstock round 2. Kenny Phillips going to be taking on the Kenny Phillips going to be in the mortgage options lane in the street legal. He's going to be racing Bryant Dalton Sr., who's going to be over in the quick time performance lane in his Falcon Futura. Classic Ford versus Chevy matchup right here. Ford in the quick time performance lane. Chevy going to be over there in the mortgage options lane. Kenny Phillips takes the win right there in the street legal. So he'll move on into the semifinals of Superstock, where he's going to take on Randy Keeper. All right, so Gary Dean right here going to have a competition single as Johnny Royals unable to make the call. He's had a malfunction. Randy Kiefer, the #1 qualifier here today out of Cookeville, Tennessee, and he will take a bye run here by virtue of being that #1 qualifier. All right, so Randy Kiefer moves it on through as we get ready to move to SEGA. All right, Tim Hall's going to have a bye run right here by virtue of being the #2 qualifier, so he's going to go ahead. Steve Davis turns on the red light as he knew he had a performance disadvantage, and he is trying to shave it razor thin on the tree, and the red light caught him. Third matchup right here in this SEGA is going to find Ron Allison in the quick time performance lane over here, the 78-year-old out of Cookeville, Tennessee, in Poppy's Toy 2. So he finds himself up against the man that's #1 in points right now, and that is Todd Oden out of Birmingham, Alabama. Todd Oden absolutely shaving the tree down, and he goes distance right here from beginning to end. Diana Castro going to be in the mortgage options lane in that Falcon out of West Virginia. She's got her hands full over here with Seth Bubb. He's out of Shelby, North Carolina in the Gold Nugget. Seth Buff, big win right there as he puts Diana Casto on the trailer. So big win right there for him. And to that credit, he's going to get Tim Hall in the next round. Fifth pair out is going to find Alfred Adams taking on Ernie Smith right here. Ernie Smith going to be in the quick time performance lane on the left-hand side where he won in round #1. Alfred Adams out of Clover, South Carolina with Gene Foot power underneath the hood. Had a little trouble here in the burnout box. Don't know if that's going to equate to anything on the racetrack or not, but had a little trouble doing the burnout right there. I don't know what that's going to mean for him. Obviously something did happen as Alfred Adams not able to drop the hammer right there and drop the clutch. And Ernie Smith moves to round #3. Brad Wimberly takes the win right there. So Wimberly going to get Todd Oden in the next round. And that'll conclude C gas as we get ready to go into B gas. All right, first pair out, going to find Art Copeland in the quick time performance lane on the left side in that Barracuda. He's going to go down the track alongside Daniel Haynes in the mortgage options lane in that beautiful Patriot Falcon. Daniel Haynes start to finish right there as he takes the win right there. Greg Adams in the Hillbilly Hoodlum going to be in the quick time performance lane on the left side in his 1960 Falcon out of Winchester, Tennessee. He's going to be racing the dirt man Rick Varner out of Kannapolis, North Carolina in his 55 Chevy with the Jeff Taylor performance underneath the hood. up for Varner right there as he leaves on him in a big way, and he marches on to the victory. All right, Mike Blackwell, the number 4 qualifier here today in the Thunderstruck, the 1955 Thunderbird. He finds himself in the quick time performance lane. Troy Leitner going to be in the mortgage auction side out of Liberty, South Carolina. These are a couple of wily old veterans right here. These guys aren't any spring chickens, as you might say. Looked like Troy Leitner went on in and staged and then rolled out of the beams or something. But when he rolled all the way in, it triggered the Christmas tree. So Mike Blackwell takes the win right there. All right, Gerard Milladantri here in the quick time performance lane in that 48 Anglia, the Wicked One. Trying to move on into uncharted territory for him in the 3rd round. And Kelvin Cannon out of Elizabethton, Tennessee in the loose cannon sits over the mortgage auction side. Milladantri moves on where he'll take on Blackwell in the next round. Ted McKee, the number 1 qualifier here today, he gets a bye run for his effort. Quayne Stock coming up next right here. He's going to be racing Gabriel Burrell's cousins going at it right here against each other. Gabriel Burrell, the number 1 qualifier here in the Southern Flyer. He'll be in the mortgage auction side, and Quayne Stock going to be in the quick time performance side. Quayne was our winner at our Killcare Dragway race in Xenia, Ohio a little earlier this year. Gabriel Burrell, man, in a good race right there. Burrell took the win. Next matchup going to find in the quick time performance lane, that is Chase Howard. Ben Christopher sits in the mortgage options lane. He chooses to do a little shorter burnout. Ben Christopher gets there first. That car launched really well. Then it got out there in 2nd gear, started applying some real horsepower, and man, that thing was watching around. But Ben Christopher. All right, big time matchup right here in the quick time performance lane. You're going to find Todd Blackwell and Gene Fulton small block under the hood for the 1958 Corvette of Kenneth Phillips, which sits in the mortgage option side. The Silver Streak 2. Todd Blackwell knocking off Kenneth Phillips right there in a big, that's a little mini upset right there. All right, SEGA eliminations, we're back into it right here with Todd Oden and Brad Wimberly coming up next. Todd Oden takes the win right there. Tim Hall going to be in the mortgage options lane out of Abbeville, South Carolina. He is our 2-time and defending world champion in SEGA. He was the number 2 qualifier here today in his 67 Rambler that he calls the Scalded Dog. He's going to be taking on the guy in the quick time performance lane. That is Seth Buff in the Gold Nugget, that 1957 Nomad with the G-Force power underneath the hood. Tim Hall with a starting line advantage, and that is going to be all it takes as Tim Hall puts Seth Buff on the trailer right here and moves into the semifinals. All right, third pair out right here. A monumental task right here for Ernie Smith out of Spartanburg, South Carolina. He's going to be in the quick time performance left lane in his Saturday night special. And Ernie Smith knocks off Jared Perdue as Perdue was dead late at the tree. Mike Blackwell in the Thunderstruck, that 1955 Thunderbird, but Gerard Millinandri is going to be his opponent, and he'll be in the quick time performance lane. Like Mike Blackwell ends the day for Gerard Millinandri right here as he puts him on the trailer, but what a day it was. Third pair out right here, Ted McKee, the number 1 qualifier here today, and the guy who is tied with Daniel Haynes for the points lead. He's going to be taking on the dirt man, Rick Varner, out of Kannapolis, North Carolina, in his 55 Chevy. Right there. All right, Kenny Phillips again into street legal in the quick time performance side here on the left-hand lane. In the right-hand lane, going to be Randy Keefe, the number 1 qualifier here today out of Cookeville, Tennessee, in the Spine Tinkler. Takes the win right there. Jerry Dean going to be in the quick time performance lane over here as he is going to try to make a run for a lap time, I'm sure. We'll move into SEGA coming up next right here. Ernie Smith and Tim Hall going to be the big matchup right here with Todd Oden in the Double X. He'll have a bye to the finals. The day comes to an end for Ernie Smith. Looks like something happened mechanically to the Saturday night special right there. Daniel Haynes and Ted McKee, the two guys that are locked in a point battle right now, even. Daniel Haynes takes the win. Good race right there, folks. The margin of victory, 0.06 of a second. The reaction times in that were 004 for Ted McKee and 001 for Daniel Haynes. There's our defending world champion, Gabriel Burrell, coming around the corner in the Southern Flyer, that 31 Ford Tudor. He's going to be up against Ben Christopher out of Boiling Springs, South Carolina, in his 66 Chevy 2. Gabriel Burrell out in the gray area and brings it back, and Ben Christopher takes the win as Ben was able to keep that car going straight. All right, who will Ben Christopher face in the finals? It'll be one of these two guys right here. Todd Blackwell in the Chevy 2, 1965 Chevy 2 Slingshot. He's going to be taking on Leslie Horn in the mortgage options lane in his 1955 Chevy. Todd Blackwell with a good lead. He gets loose out about mid-track. Leslie Horn shaking around, and Todd Blackwell takes the win. All right, H-Gas right here. You heard from these guys a little bit earlier. Scott Pardee out of North Florida right there in the Panhandle is going to be an American Woman, the 1960 Rambler wagon. The Midnight Rambler of Robert Frazier out of Bristol, Tennessee sits over in the mortgage auction side. Robert Frazier pulling away at the 330 mark, and he takes the win. But Scott Pardee trying to do all he can do, going in there and double bumping it. All right, number one qualifier, Randy Kiefer right here in the spine team. Continues his winning ways right here. Randy Kiefer got the hole shot, the drop on him on the tree, a little baby hole shot, but. All right, Jerry Dean, parking this thing in victory lane is beginning to be a habit for you.
We're getting awfully lucky. We're taking the day up. Had a lot of problems today chasing the racetrack. I couldn't do it without my crew, Karen Mitchell, Dennis Mitchell, David Dean, Buck Rogers, and David Richardson. They work hard, and I'm just lucky enough to get to drive the car.
You said that right. Every one of these guys out here have got a team people behind them that make this thing go, because it's easy to sit there and push the gas. But if you can't get traction and you can't get down a racetrack, you're going to be the fastest car that gets eliminated in the first round.
You know, I've always said, everybody believes this, but you know, I think I got the best crew in the business, just like everybody thinks their crew is the best because they work so hard. And they deserve a win every now and then, so that's good, you know.
Well, and they know every nut, bolt,
Yep.
because they've twisted on it, they've turned on it,
Yep.
they spent time with it,
Yep.
and that's what makes them special to your car.
Yeah, it works real well. Miss Karen makes pretty much every decision. She makes them today. We swung for the fence in the last one because we know our good friend Randy Kiefer's very fast and lucked out on him. You know, I didn't know who won at the other end until they told us. And so, you know, we're tickled with that, but we got to go home and go to work.
Well, the margin of victory did indicate that as well, and the car's still running great. You won one race at the end of last year, and you're 5 in a row this year. That makes 6 in a row for you.
Right.
And you know, I know you got, like you said, you got to go to work to stay on top. How hard is it to stay on top when everybody's chasing?
You know, it's real hard. We go through the car after every race. We're subject to pull the motor out, get on the dyno. We're subject to go test the car. And we could do none of this if it wasn't for, you know, G-force transmissions and one-way technologies and random clutches. They do a lot for us. And they're good if we need some advice on the telephone. And that means a lot. And they're good people. I wouldn't run nothing else. Been running a long time. But we thrash this thing all the time. And we want to try to keep running well.
Well, in the quest to get to the top, you are on top of the mountain right now, Jerry Dean. Lacey's Spring, Alabama.
A lot of Lacey's, one Spring.
Well, congratulations here on your win at Union County Dragway and Superstock.
Appreciate you, brother.
Todd Oden takes the win right there as he just out-ETs him as Tim Hall had to brake on him on the starting line, and Todd Oden drove around him and just out-ET'd him right there for the win. Big guy from Birmingham, Alabama, bringing a big car back to victory lane. Todd Oden, this makes victory number 3 for you this year.
Yes.
And what a way to do it.
Man, what a day. I mean, you talk about adversity and heat and hard breakage and we just kept hammering through. Joey and John and then Ken Rainwater jumped in before the finals, helped to change the transmission out, and I'm so thankful to be surrounded by such good people.
Well, and we talked about that with Jerry Dean. Having people who know this car inside and out, and a good friend like Rainwater, who you don't mind letting crawl under here because he's not your competition. He's in B. I mean, that really helps to have the familiarity with the car as you're tuning on it.
It really does. And I know this car. I love this car. Every time I get in it, I just feel right at home. It's like it's part of me. And, you know, once you get in tune with a car, you know, I can almost tell what's going to happen before it happens. It's a little scary, but I just love this old big girl.
Well, that's a lot of veteran experience, and I know a lot of experience that Lester put in there, and a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to get in this car as well. You got to feel like he's watching over you this year. This might be your year.
I promise you, he's right with me. He's there, for sure.
Well, Todd, the performance of One-Way Technologies motor has been outstanding as well for you this year.
That thing is a beast, you know, a reliable beast. It's if that engine keeps performing like it is, I mean, this old big car is hard to beat. It really is a good, consistent piece.
Well, anytime you can put another cup in your collection, it's going to be a great points day for you, and you extend that points lead even further.
Just a little bit. Just to get around Tim anytime is a challenge because, boy, I'm talking about what a champion and what a competitor, what a great family. But I'm proud to be standing here.
Oh, I promise you, he's not going to go down. He's a two-time world champion. He's not going to go down without a counter punch or something.
You count on that. He won and Josh won. Any of those guys in this C class, it's tough as nails.
Well, congratulations on another victory. How many does this make for you in your career now?
David, I'm not sure. 14 or 15, I've got to go count.
Hey, that's a good thing to have to do, go count. Here's your man from Birmingham, Alabama, driver of the Double X, Todd Oden. Moving on to B now, where Mike Blackwell and Daniel Haynes will be the next two down. takes the win right there. That is a good drag race right there. Daniel Haynes carrying this Patriot to victory lane one more time with his Falcon.
Oh man, it's been a day. It's been a long day.
And judging by the size of that shirt, it's been a hot day for you out here.
It's been a hot day.
The competition just as hot. We talked about it a little earlier in an interview we had in the staging lanes. You had a tough day, but you went through the teeth of the competition in big gas to come out on top today.
Yes, sir.
Can you give me a little bit more? How was it to go through that?
It was tough. I wouldn't have bet a nickel that we'd be here right now as of qualifying.
So what kind of troubles did you have out of the car? What kind of obstacles did you have to overcome?
We're having some engine issues today, and I was a little afraid it was going to come apart, but it held in there.
Well, you didn't back down off the throttle or the clutch on that. If there was any problems in the motor,
If you want to go around to big gas and SEGA in general, you don't back off at nothing.
you can. And that matchup with Ted McKee, you guys come in here tight with the points lead, 1-2 in qualifying. You meet up in the semifinals. You know, are there any extra butterflies there, or is it just do you take it as another round?
Oh, there's for sure butterflies there. Either one of us had an opportunity to put 2 rounds on the other.
Well, and those 2 rounds may end up being the telltale sign to get you a world championship.
It very well could be. There's no cushion big enough for Ted. Ted's a bad man.
Well, and we're halfway through this thing. This is the 5th race of the year, and I expect this big gas category to come down to you two. Maybe throw one more in there. And it could get really tight really quick throughout the rest of this year.
Yes, sir. Looking forward to it.
Well, good job today. We can't say enough about the performance. Even though you might be having some motor troubles, if you get all that fixed, it's going to be a bad day for some competition.
She held in there.
Your winner today, Union County Dragway, the Patriot, Daniel Haynes.
Thank you, David.
Hello, ladies. Huh? Yeah, I still got my rag on it.
So 2-par race engines right here on the line as they get ready to go to battle here to see who wins the A-gas category here today at Union County Dragway. Both cars get a little sachet in it about 3/4 track. But Todd Blackwell gets there first. So Todd Blackwell in the slingshot takes the win here. Ben Christopher going to run her up, but a great race right there. As both those cars, they had to do some driving down track as the rear ends washed out just a little bit. Congratulations, Todd Blackwell, putting it in victory lane, man. You guys have been, it's been a while, but you've always been capable. Just never could punch the ticket. Now you got it. How's it feel?
It feels wonderful. It's like we was talking about earlier. If you'd have told me this morning during qualifying that I'd have been here right now, I'd probably laugh. I had some really bad A-gas times for qualifying, and it just didn't seem to be getting any better. I made a few changes, and I said, hey, maybe we ought to do something other. And then so we just kept going in that direction a little bit at a time, and it kept getting a little bit better. But then I think the track started getting a little bit fast. At the end of the day, some of the drivers that probably could have ran better. They had issues on the track, and I also did myself a couple of times plumb sideways. But at the end of the day, we're sitting right here, and I'm thankful to the good Lord that we finally got us another one.
Well, and you're right. I'm watching from the tower of you and Ben Christopher especially. Y'all were washing out pretty bad in the rear end as you got up to high speed on the top end of the racetrack.
Yeah, anytime you're 130 plus miles per hour on a track and they can read the side of your car where you're at, it's not good.
It's not good. But, you know, talk about the day for the Blackwell family. I mean, also, we're super happy for you. But Dad, you had a great day, too. It's got to make you guys trip home even that much better.
Oh, absolutely. I think they had 5 rounds, and he made 4 of them, and they made it to the finals. And the way to understand it, he only got beat by about the thickness of the paint on the bumper. But I wish that he could have been here in Winter Circle, too. It's been a really good moment for me and him both to be here.
All that hard work that y'all been putting in on both cars has really paid off here today in Union County. And I know you got some people you want to thank.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Again, my team, my wife, for putting up with all those the countless hours of working in the garage, coming in late at night, and And then you got R Racing Engines. He's done a great job with this engine. And you got Pat North Shore Round Clutches is good support. Roby with G-Force, incredible. And so yeah, that's the bulk of it. And they put together a winning car today.
Well, congratulations again. A grateful Todd Blackwell here in Victory Lane in the Slingshot 8 gas at Union County Dragway.
Thank you very much.
All right.